Assalamu alaikum. Praise be to God, the Lord of the worlds. We ask Allah to raise the rank of Prophet Muhammad and protect him from what he fears for his nation. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa sallallahu ala sayyidi rasulillah. In the introduction video, I stated two of the main beliefs of the terrorist groups and how they twisted the understanding of Islam. In this video, we will be exposing the dangers in their doctrine when they accuse Muslims of being apostates. The Arabic word for it is murtadeen. A major danger in their belief that Muslims are apostates is that they consider that the killing of Muslims not a sin, and they rather consider it as duty. If this is their belief about Muslims around the world, what do you expect their attitude towards non-Muslims to be? Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said what means, whoever calls his brother a blasphemer is either right or the blasphemy falls back on him. من قال لأخيه يا كافر فقد باء بها أحدهما. This was narrated by Imam Bukhari and other Imams as well. Calling a Muslim a blasphemer without an apparent blasphemous act such as cursing God or one of his prophets or other cases that are described in authentic religious books makes the caller a blasphemer himself. These groups know this narration, yet they still call Muslims blasphemers or apostates, murtadeen. Why? What is their logic, or the lack of it for that matter? It's because they follow the misguidance of false imams, leaders, who judge Muslims to be blasphemers by misinterpreting verses from the Quran or misinterpreting narrations of the Prophet, peace be upon him, or some actions, or judging some actions that Muslims do. Muslims believe that God does not resemble his creation. The creator of the world is not to be measured by the rules and laws that apply to his creation. He created everything and existed before the creation. And when this world ends, he will still exist without the need of his creations. He created time, and the rules of time don't apply to him. He created the place and space and existed without beginning, without the need for time or place. These terrorists, however, follow their twisted leaders who, contrary to the Islamic creed, claim that God is to be likened to his creations. Their brains are so tiny, they could not understand that the Creator cannot be likened to his creations. So they forbid Muslims to interpret the verses of the Quran and the Hadith. They forbid Muslims from interpreting the verses of the Quran by linking them to other verses of the Quran. By doing so, they open the gates of mass blasphemy and claim that whoever does not follow their path is not a Muslim. Some of the examples is what one of their main figures who appeared around 700 years ago, someone who they advertise as a main Islamic figure, if not their main Islamic figure. This individual claims that we cannot deny or approve, stating that God is a body, opening with this statement the doors wide for likening God to his creations. It is known that a body has certain measurements, shape, thickness, or volume, and God says in the Quran what means that Allah is not like anything. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. This is a verse in the Quran. Utterly, God is not to be compared to his creation. With his statement, he opened the floodgates of blasphemy to his followers. The leaders of these groups, and among them who claims that God is a body, and that he has a face like ours, and an eye, one eye, and two hands that are both on the right side, and a foot, because they forbid the understanding of the verses and narrations as they are intended. They claim that God sits on his throne, and we all know what sitting entails. You need a body, a rear side. Rather than explaining the word istawa, the ayah in the Quran الرحمن على العرش استوى. Stawa in Arabic has over 17 meanings, among which is ruling and keeping. The reason behind mentioning the throne, Al-Arsh, is because it is the greatest creation size-wise. Imam Ali, the cousin of the Prophet, said, إن الله خلق العرش إظهارا لقدرته ولم يتخذه مكانا لذاته. Which means that God created the throne to show us humans his power, not to use it for his sitting. It is common sense to understand that someone who can rule something as huge as a creation like the Arsh can rule anything that is smaller than it, size-wise. It was narrated that the size of the earth and space, compared to the first sky, is like the size of a ring thrown in an empty field. We believe that there are 7 skies, and the size of the first sky with earth and space compared to the second sky is also the size of a ring thrown in an open field. And so on through the 7 skies. Arsh is huge. They want to take Muslims from the belief that God, who created everything, who does not resemble his creation, is nothing but a disfigured body. Does any Muslim have a doubt that those who claim that the Creator is a disfigured body can only be a non-Muslim, someone who does not love God? Yet these people have the financial capability to publish millions of copies of the books of this misguided person in multiple languages and do what they deem a necessary propaganda to claim that this person represents the true path of the believers, the path of the Salaf, who were the people who lived in the first 300 years of Islam, although he himself only appeared in the 7th century. This guy, Ahmad ibn Taymiyyah, died in jail after being judged as an innovator in creed. Bad innovations in his case. Muslim judges in his time refuted his claims, and he was given a chance after a chance to renounce what he claimed. He would renounce privately what he claimed publicly until it was decided to keep him in jail in order to avoid letting him spread his misguidance. This is a huge subject and a long one, but the summary is that these groups follow a methodology which starts by casting doubts in the Muslim belief, then claim that whoever does not believe the creed of their leaders is a non-Muslim, hence allowing themselves to kill Muslims around the world. In my future movies, I will expose more of their leaders and their beliefs, then link these beliefs to our current days and the threats we are facing by God's will, inshallah. Meanwhile, beware of the teachings of Ibn Taymiyyah and encourage others to avoid relying on his interpretations. Assalamu alaikum.